Hello, viewers. Welcome to Pitso Podcast, where we use the past to make sense of the present and hopefully shape the future. We discuss news from yesteryear. Re bua ka dikgang tsa maloba le maabane. Today we have a guest. She's the first woman to be here.
Oh, okay.
The first woman to be here at Pitso Podcast, and we appreciate that. We'll be talking about the national anthem, how it came about, and especially talking about the God in this national anthem. So we are having our guest today, Keitseng Nkah Monyatsi. She will introduce herself. Monyatsi, you are welcome to Pitso Podcast.
Thank you very much, Remereki.
Like I said, you are the first woman to grace this podcast. I was worried that now it's like only men are coming here, so you are bringing that balance. I believe more women will come after you.
No, thank you so much. It's an honor to have me. It's an honor to also be the first.
Yes.
Membership. I'm one of the I'm a woman of benefits.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. So I'd like you to introduce yourself, your upbringing, how you grew up, to be the woman that you are, the defining moments in your life, what made you the woman you are.
That's an interesting question.
Yes.
What question? Thank you. Okay, Keitseng Nkah Monyatsi. I come from a village called Borolong. 20 kilometers from Francistown along the Orapa Road.
Okay.
When I was growing up, it was a small village.
Okay.
But now it has the influence of Francistown. Okay. Borolong has grown so big.
Yes.
Maybe Mapoka.
Okay.
For Northeast.
Yes.
So I went to a couple of primary schools. Not a couple. I went to Tatitown Primary School.
Okay.
That's where I first interacted with the national anthem of Botswana, Standard 1.
Okay.
And then I went to Taloham Primary School, which is in Chadibe.
Okay.
Back then, there was no primary school in Borolong.
Okay.
So Nertanas Primary School ko Talohang, Rotolano Kariaku.
Okay.
And then eventually, Behuahuga Primary School ko Borolong when I was in Standard 4.
Okay.
So we removed Ariaku Borolong. I went to Mount Senior Secondary School.
Okay.
Keitseng boarding school, and then Butirolo Chaba University and all the like. But all in all, I am a patriotic citizen of Botswana.
Yes.
I look at my life and appreciate where I am is because of what this country has done for me.
Okay.
Therefore, I feel an obligation in to make a contribution for that will also impact generations that are coming.
Okay.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, we have, but maybe go further at university. What did you study?
Okay.
Go
university, I studied a Bachelor of Commerce, specializing in management.
Okay.
And then I went and worked for the government.
Okay.
And had a privilege for a master's degree in US in the area of intellectual property.
Okay.
And then, of course, I came back, worked for the government, and then went into the private sector, went back to government, tried other things at the university. I also had a privilege to go and work with the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And then I came home.
Okay.
So that I also continue growing and contributing to the country.
Okay. Like I said, we are going to be talking about the national anthem. I think sometimes back you wrote an article. I think you were even raising a concern that it's like the national anthem is not treated with the respect it deserved. You said you saw some young people momokaragane ba idirile kwasa ba ibina. You've already told us you are a patriotic citizen. So what motivated you to write that article? What was it about? Okay. What was your concern?
Thank you so much. Maybe if I step back, like I said, I went to Tatitown Primary School in Francistown. That's where I first interacted with National Anthem.
Yes.
So, Haratzana School, one of the protocols we were taught about the National Anthem is that you stand still.
Yes.
No matter what happens, whether we are or you stand still. I guess maybe at that time, as a child, when you're told that, that sticks in your mind. So that I think maybe I don't know if we could have run or we're still going to stand. So that stuck with me, the National Anthem. So I grew up with that in my mind throughout primary school because it was a norm for assembling secondary school. So when I started working, Happy TV there was a lot of content that was being created by Botswana. I don't remember the name of the group. I recall seeing banana babina kwasa kwasa, and kwasa kwasa was the in thing at the time.
Yes.
Babina kwasa kwasa, I was traumatized. I thought this cannot be right. And then I wrote a very detailed article recalling my first interactions and the memories that were embedded into my mind. Got the National Anthem, calling this should not be allowed.
Yes.
And that was the last time I saw the song. The article was published. Unfortunately, I wasn't, I didn't know but for me it was about it can't be right. And gratefully I've not seen anywhere else where the National Anthem Inessa hand listened.
Yes. I remember even us when we were growing up, no, thank you for that explanation. Happy you wrote a poem about Sidudu, about the flag. Because I'm trying to bring out your patriotic self, or these national symbols. You seem to have a love for them, a respect for them, even how they are used. So, other than the kwasa kwasa thing in BTV, you also wrote a poem about Sidudu and the flag. What is it about?
What I want to indicate is that for me, the three symbols, being the National Anthem, the flag, and the cogwheels. The coat of arms.
Yes.
And the cogwheels, and the zebras. These are things that we are taught primary school, a part of our identity.
Okay.
So whenever I see the coat of arms, I see authority. I know what the government is speaking or the government has spoken. If I see a letter in a coat of arms, for me, it's already government and Clevy, we are Botswana. And then when I see the flag, it's an identifier. It stands to show that this territory in one or another relates to Botswana. So it's an identity. And then the National Anthem for me, then it's like our expression of who we are, our expression of our unity, or it's more like a unifying factor amidst our identity. So, mo flagging. I always believed, you know, ntwaele ya Sidudu, e batileng go nna teng. E ne ya re ba mo pointing e leng gore le Batswana, it showed gore we are a country that loves peace indeed, like our national anthem indicates. So I had an opportunity ya go ya ko Kasane and on a boat cruise, had the stories sa Sidudu se narratiwa ke di tour guides, and to tourists who are not nationals, they'll be wowed, you know. So every time I go there, I would be so much looking for that moment, and it didn't matter how many times I've heard it. And then lo and behold, another time I go, the flag is not there, you know. So I was really saddened because it felt like something has been taken away, an identity has been taken away. So then I wrote that poem. I think maybe I probably missed the communication. I think so then I just wrote that poem just to express for me, she was that beautiful girl that lived with other animals, dipo tsa gore ye phologolo ke ya mohuta mang, e sa tshwaneng le rona, but then di be di amogela gore strange as it may, she is one of us. And you know, that is where it comes from, really.
Okay. I don't want us to talk much about your what the work you do, but from what you said when you introduced yourself by working in Zimbabwe around intellectual property, I don't want us to talk much about that, but because we are going to talk about the national anthem, maybe we can delve into that. Maybe our young people, national anthem maybe we can get into that. Where does this come from? Our motto here is that we take issues from the past, news from the past, and bring them to the present. So national anthem is
Yeah, I've had a privilege of researching national anthem
Yes.
National Museum.
Yes.
When I did, I found very, very interesting facts about it, which now sort of elevated the passion that I have towards the national anthem. So, firstly, young people should know that every country has a national anthem. That one I'm sure they know because by football and everything.
Yes.
So for some time in a British colony. And then now we are going to be given independence. The country is going to need its national symbols that are going to identify it. And then according to the records of the National Archives, 22 November 1965, flew to an advertisement which was inviting people they can propose the national anthem, they can propose the coat of arms, and they can also propose the flag for Botswana in preparation for independence.
Yes.
So people responded, and among the respondents in Ele Rekhalema Motsete, well, young people should know so he responded with 2 songs, interestingly. And then dipina tsa go tswethene di bua ka lehatshe la Botswana, but then this one national anthem ya rona, it was eventually adopted around June on the 2nd of around June 1966. No se go dirulwe ditshwetso e selectilwe aba kopiwa gore because in terms of intellectual property, the rights when you compose the song, I denounce those he did. Now the national anthem belongs to the government. So then there was a whole chronology around the preparations and everything, and then eventually, officially 1966. That was the identity that we had as a country.
From my reading, I heard. Our first president preferred Morena Boloka Setjhaba sa
Morena Boloka Setjhaba sa, it would seem like at the time it was the preferred Netan in Southern Africa. Because I get my South Africa never wapela Nkosi Sikelel Morena Boloka. So maybe
even the Zambians.
Yeah, so it resonated with the times, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this song is in 2 versions. There's the Setswana and the English. How did this come about? Were these versions written by Mr. Motsete himself, or what happened?
Okay. According to the records in the archives,
Yes.
It shows where Remotsete submitted his submission ka Setswana.
Yes.
And then we're a British colony, I think it made sense for a translation so that our colonial masters can be able to understand what are we really saying in it. In the records, when now the government had published the national anthem ya Botswana, both the Setswana and the English versions, go gongwe re motsete go lebega nna ko Zambia. I'm not a historian.
Yes.
Nna ko Zambia mme yaanong on his way transiting to Zambia he ta go Bulawayo. He found a newspaper ne bidiwa the Chronicles.
Yes.
E publishitse national anthem ya Botswana, both the Setswana and the English versions.
Okay.
Mo go yone go supagala gore he then wrote a letter to the government complaining gore the English version doesn't reflect what he has said in terms of it being able gore e opelege. Gore go ra gore na ba ene na batile gore e opelege both ka Sekgowa le ka Setswana. So ka Setswana ne opelega mme when you go to the English version be go ra gore ga e opelege. So he wrote complaining about that. A supa gore go affecta his integrity as a composer, go tshegisa le hatse ka batho gore national anthem ya rona ga e opelege. And then the comments that are there in the National Archives in response to his complaint ke gore the English version is not meant to be sung. Instead, it's meant to interpret so that people can understand. So that if you are not an English speaking, not a Setswana speaking person, you should be able to understand what does the national anthem of Botswana mean. So go ra gore be hella go do. But hella me Botswana, I think, and everybody else, when you say national anthem, I don't think anybody thinks of it in English. But if somebody were to ask me what does it mean, I'll interpret it to them with my own understanding, but not the exact interpretation that was provided with the official records.
So his complaint, Mr. Mozita's complaint, was not that it is properly translated. His complaint, if I hear you, was that it is not singable in English.
Yeah, that was his main issue. Can I remember he was a composer?
Yes.
A composer music. So for him it was very, very important.
Yes.
For translate
Yes.
So that his main complaint was that it's not singable.
Okay. Not that the translation is not correct or it loses the meaning of the Setswana version.
My memory tells me that it was more about its singability.
Okay.
I look at there's such a word.
No, I think when I read them side by side, the English version, the meanings come out more clearer for me when I read the English version. So I kind of like it more than the.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish it was singable.
Okay. Okay.
We'll get into the lyrics and see what I mean about that. And maybe the next question would be, Mr. Motseta, although we're not talking about him, I've read that he studied music, like you said, and he studied divinity, or he had a. So is it something that you can talk about, his studies and how they influenced his composition?
But at the time when I was researching on this, my interest was more on the music side.
Okay.
So that's when I realized he studied music.
Okay.
I may not be able to recall the exact qualification that he had, but what's in school, studied music.
Yes. You could see from reading that this man was particular about his profession and his integrity as a composer. Thank you very much. Maybe we should get into the anthem itself, the lyrics. What is your understanding? What do they mean? One of the reasons we are talking about the national anthem is this year Botswana is turning 60. So one of this we need to appreciate and understand where we come from. 60 years ago, what happened, what motivated people. Maybe we can learn something from them. So the national anthem, the first stanza. Or yaring and what is your
the national anthem, the first stanza e bua gone gore ha tseleno la rona ke mpho ya modimo ke boswa ja bo raitso a le nne ka kagiso. So for me the first stanza is declaratory. Is somebody declaring and telling another their identity and who they are.
Yes.
You know, it's about somebody telling motho yo mongwe gore, I'm standing here in this country, this is my country. And then the question that sort of somebody answers a question is or how did you get that land? And they say, I was given this land as a gift from God. In other words, I didn't work for it. I didn't do anything to deserve it. Anybody else could have been given. But because of the favor of God, I'm here. This is my land. And then also just the next stanza, the next line says, rights. It's an inheritance from our forefathers or from our fathers. For me, that says, you know, as a Christian, what I know, Mudimu onale order ya berekang ka yona. Mudimu does not come from heaven and start doing things mo lehatsheng ka bo ene. Instead, he uses people to do things. What I mean by that is that if you are hungry and you pray to God and say, "Modimo ga ke na dijo, ke kopa dijo," God doesn't come himself in person and gives you food. God will send another person to come and give you food.
Yes.
So my interpretation here is that this person is basically saying, God gave me this land as an inheritance from my fathers, which basically means that God in himself gave it to my forefathers, and my forefathers took care of it and made sure that I have an inheritance. In other words, if my forefathers had wasted it, I wouldn't be having this inheritance. So he's acknowledging the fact that God gave them the land, and then acknowledges that the forefathers were prudent enough to ensure I'll benefit from it. And then they also declare a blessing of peace upon the land. So if you recall, there was a lot of unrest that was going on the African continent, including the Southern Africa. And history tells us that amidst those unrest that were happening, we were the one,
An island.
An island. Things were happening all around us. But it was like nobody really cares, nobody sees us. One can argue, or maybe the angels were shielding us so much so that everybody could be fought, everybody could be killed, but now we are there cocooned. So this declaration for me, when I look back, says to me that this man was declaring a blessing upon the land. But it's like somebody was prophesying. He was proclaiming and then prophesying. And it has been. I mean, one of the prides that I have when I talk to people about Botswana, we are a country that has never been to war. In our neighboring countries, we've never been to war. We don't know what war is, and it is not because we are smart or anything. We do encounter things in other places they could trigger war, but somehow we are able to resolve them. So for me, when I declare and then the quarrel, okay.
No, before we go to the chorus, I agree you've talked about the Tswana version and the way you understand it. I want to read the English
version.
It says, the English version says, "Blessed be this noble land, gift to us from God's strong hand. Heritage our fathers left to us, may it be always at peace." How it's like, when I read it in English, it's gift from God's strong hand.
Strong hand, yeah.
For me, it gives a sense that somebody fought for this land. God was
fighting
the
for
strong
it.
hand of God. The strong hand of God defended us and protected us. So that's why I say I like the English version.
You wish it was singable.
I wish it was singable. I like the fact that you bring out that this man was prophetic and was declaring good things over our land. the peace that we are known for, that we are a peaceful country. So we can go to the chorus.
Yes. The chorus, the way I interpret the chorus, ke gore, after making that declaration, telling people the identity, you are like telling a third party about your land, and then you declare the peace.
Yes.
Now, when you have done that, you are talking to your own.
Yes.
You are talking to bana ba ga rrago le mmago, your brothers and sisters, and say, now that we've been given this land, now that our parents were prudent enough to hand over an inheritance to us, let us rise.
Yes.
Tsogang banna, tsogang. Emang basadi, emang. A re tshwahaleng re direla ha tsela rona. Re kopaneleng go le direla. So for me, it's a call to say we should not relax. We shouldn't say because we have land, we have an inheritance, ebe re relax. Because if we do, ra go iphitlhela le gore ka moso rona we don't have anything to hand over to our children. So that for me, that says also a lot. This is where now the patriotism should come in. This is where I expect Botswana to give themselves to the country and put the country before themselves. As an example, one of the things that normally frustrates me is when you talk about corruption as an example. You find that Botswana will talk about corruption, and you find that I am there, I'm working in a shop as a shop assistant. A customer comes in, how can and everything. We don't see that as corruption. At the end of the at the end of the day, you are not serving your country because it affects the business, it affects all these our behaviors in many aspects, higher level standards. We should be aligned to a way whatever I am doing, I do knowing that my country is going to be affected by my behavior. Bad or good. So it's an encouragement for us to do the right thing. It's an encouragement for us to sacrifice, or we are sacrificing for our country, to put the country ahead of ourselves. So this is what I see this to be calling us to say, ska ranna hela. Because ha re nna hela ga gona opo e leng gore o ta tswa kwa a ta re direla, you know.
Yeah, before I go to the English version of Tsokang, I want us to go back to the first stanza. Ke mpho ya Modimo. Which God? Do you have an idea or this God? Or which God is this one? Who gifted us this land from his strong hand? I'm asking this because I think I see a move by a lot of people trying to remove God from everything about Botswana. Some even say Botswana is a secular country.
Yeah.
We don't have any relationship with God. Secular comes from the Latin seclura, meaning without God.
Yeah.
Are we a nation without God? And which God is this one that Mutsita is talking about? From your reading and knowing about him, what he studied.
Yeah. I think maybe I'll start off by saying, you know what, I think for me the starting point is as human beings or as creation.
Yes.
We have to acknowledge that there is a power that is bigger than us.
Yes.
Before we even start answering the question, which God?
Yes.
Because for me, if you come and say Botswana is a country without God, you are basically saying everything that is in the country, including its people and everything else, hadina they just happened. So if they just happened, where did it happen come from? So for me, that is the starting point. Yeah, no, I've not studied a lot Ramotsete and his religion. He studied divinity, but I've not gone deep into that. But now I am a Christian, a born-again Christian. My faith the creator of all, he saved humanity through the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is what I believe. So when I read the Bible, I mean the national anthem,
Yes.
ha go te Modimo, I don't imagine anything else. I don't imagine Badimo because he didn't say Badimo. Gore ke ra like mo Botswana growing up, we knew gore go na le Badimo, go na le Modimo. So the national anthem is talking about Modimo, and the only Modimo that I know, we leng gore re godile re mo rutwa mo Botswana, ke Modimo wa Bible. So ha le gore gone yana we bring in all other religions and all other ideologies. It's a different, it's a departure from what we were taught, at least ko primary school re le bana re rutwa ka Modimo, gore re rutilwe ka Modimo le Badimo. And then it was either wa Badimo kana wa Modimo. So here he says Modimo. So I believe gore ke Modimo mo Bible.
Na by interpretation ke gore ya ka bua ke ene Modimo wa mo Bible, looking at the events that led the country to be where it is today.
Yeah.
From Bokhosi Sechele, through the missionaries, the battles they fought. That's where my understanding of God's strong hand comes from.
Yes.
From Bokhama going to ask for protectorate, they were assisted and inspired by, even funded by missionaries.
Yeah.
Even when you look at our first parliament, the first speaker was a reverend,
Yes.
Reverend Meriwether. The second speaker was also a reverend.
Yes.
So even the parliament, when it starts with prayer.
Yes.
And when you listen to this prayer, you will hear that it's not to any other God, but
Yes, yes.
the God that you are talking about.
The same thing when they batsadi oath they
Yes.
use the Bible. Of course nowadays go na le flexibility ya gore ba bangwe ba ka ithopela, but originally we've been using the Bible.
Yes. Yeah, I always tell people that when I started primary in 1978, there was a subject called scripture in school. I learned Psalm 23, not at church, in school.
In school.
I was beaten to memorize
Yes.
the Lord's Prayer.
Yes.
So I get surprised when there's such evidence that people can say we are a nation without God, we are secular.
That is where now I think re tshwanetse re recheck. So
Yes.
sa Botswana gore
Yes.
ha e le gore we say we are a nation without God, e be re go teropela a national anthem ya rona be re re ke mpho ya Modimo. We are contradicting ourselves.
Yes.
So in the contradiction of ourselves, e be re gakologelwa gore Bible ya re a double-minded man cannot receive anything from God.
Yes.
So you cannot in one hand declare gore there is no God, and then on the other hand declare gore you are living in a gift from God. You are basically saying to God, I'm not giving you the honor that you deserve. So go ra gore Modimo then takes off his hand ya na re sireletse ka yone from us.
Yes. Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you for that. Second stanza, chorus. We had the chorus. Tsogang banna, tsogang emambasadi. I remember there's a women's organization, Emambasadi.
Yes.
It was inspired by the national anthem.
Yes.
So your understanding is that the second stanza, the songwriter is speaking to us, to ourselves,
Yes, yes.
that we must arise. So the English version says, awake, awake, O men, awake. Women and women close beside them stand. In English it says, women close beside them. Or like we said, it was prophetic. Even before other people talked about women oppression, the song was saying, no, women are not behind.
Yes.
I think there are these expressions that behind every woman, behind every man,
successful man,
there is a woman. But the song says in English, women close beside. Beside, I carry so that's why I carry. The song is not only prophetic. I think it also understood, or the right understood, that men and women are created equally. This cannot come from anybody else other than a person knows the God of the Bible. I don't
Yeah.
know what do you say about that?
Yeah, that is also something that I believe gore this person really sees gore Modimo created us men and women for a reason.
Yes.
And because God created men and women, every one of us has a role.
Yes.
So we cannot say the men should rise and work for the country and leave women behind. Neither can we say the women should should awake. The men are the ones who awake, and then the women they should rise. It symbolizes for me the unity. For us, we need to stand up. Everyone make their contribution, no matter how small, towards building the country.
So the other part of the second stanza, ke e ratang ka Sekgowa, ha e bua ka, this land, this happy land. I always struggle because I agree, you know, we are the unhappiest nation. I think this means so. But when we talk about motivate in a tumo. This land, this happy, or this land is a land that should be happy, not unhappy. I don't know whether you have anything to say about.
Yeah, like I said, for me, when I read the national anthem, I feel like na prophet.
Yes.
When you look at the second paragraph stanza, it says Inalentela Tum, a beautiful land name that is famous. Just imagine Botswana in 1965. I mean, I grew up I became aware of other countries go primary super mapping. But in terms of interacting with the world, I started interacting with the world where you meet people from other countries and you happen to have traveled to another country and you say you are from Botswana. They're like, from where? Where is that? You know, you try to say South Africa is here, Botswana is here, Zimbabwe is here. Then, oh, okay. And then sometimes you explain to fellow Africans and they call you South Africa. At that time, Tumo was the last thing that anybody could have imagined. If I were the one adjudicating selection here at the national anthem, in 1965 for Botswana, I wouldn't have imagined that. I could have just said, no, this is a hallucination. We can't take this because it's not true. So it's only somebody who speaks to the future that they can say things that are not now as if they are. So I see this line, it's prophetic. The Bible, more Proverbs 18:21. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I see here, it's like somebody told him, prophesy what you want to see about this country. And as we are growing, Botswana ba simolla re ya go dikweleng re ntse re bua ka Botswana khantele ne rena le time ne re bitsa gore re ba Botswana mo mmepeng because people didn't know about us. And then with time, we became famous for a lot of good things, including the fact that we are a peaceful country, we are a well-governed country, our economy is doing well, our currency is very strong, you know, that we are pleasant people. So we became very, very popular for good things. So inalente la tumo la chaba ya Botswana. So bolitile they came, bata ba dira go tswela bo chombo, the Miss Universe, you know, all these people now they're coming there. This prophecy is manifesting right now. I recall not too long ago I interacted with we're in an international workshop somewhere. So blah blah. Somebody just came Paraguay. Very excited at you know, very excited Botswana now win a medal for the first time, and he was there talking so passionately about it. It can only be somebody who knows God and somebody who is prophesying that can talk about Botswana in a lente la tumo ka 1965 mo e leng gore go ta go manifesta gone yana hantse re tsweletse. And then he also goes on
before he goes on, how we in a lente la tumbole, I hear you saying he had this ability to call things that are not there as though they are there.
Error.
Or there was no sena Botswana sa tuma ka sepe.
Na sa
Ha e se
itse.
le huma hela.
Yes.
I remember Masire in his book, he said when they got independence, they were told that you are either very brave or very foolish, because
Yes.
there was nothing to request independence for.
Yes.
But Motsete could see gore that's a little tumale.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, word of beauty and of fame.
Yes.
Yes, no, we can continue.
Error. And then he goes on to say, re tumile ka eng gape, re tumile ka kutlwano le kagisano. And one of the interesting things, I mean, I have a privilege gore ke kgone go interact with the international community.
Yes.
One of the things that I observe when I visit a couple of African countries, ha ke ba botsa gore, oh, ke itse tshwaragano mmereki, tshwaragano kae, motho tla ba re, oh, tshwaragano tso kwa gangwe ke itse gorile. Ha ke mmotsa gore semamang o ka ene, oh, semamang o tswa ko Maung. So I always ask myself, what is the importance of you telling me gore somebody is from the north? I don't know what your north means. I don't know what your south means or your central. Just tell me gore motho ke go botsang ka ene o kae.
Yes.
So Rona as a people, we have embraced each other. We have united. This tribal Nathan, they have not affected us.
Yes.
Mo e leng gore di ka bo di re kgabaganya re na le di-tribal wars. That has not happened. We can have differences. We can express our differences. Ha ngwe, of course, re kgona go nna le gone gore re nne le di stereotype tse e leng gore ra di bua ra di dirisa. But in the core of who we are, we don't allow those two to divide us.
Yes.
I always tell people that now when people talk about tribal lines, I don't know what that means. Because now I went to school, ka tsena ka nna le di-opportunity tse di tshwana le tsa bana ba bangwe, irrespective of gore motho o tswa ko kae. So that is basically shown here, where Kgalema Motsete says, ka kutlwano le kagisano. Basically, unit kutlwano kana go raya gore ra utlwana nna le wena, irrespective of gore o tswa kae, o monna o mosadi, ra utlwana. And then e bopagantswe mmogo. It is through this kutlwano le kagisano that we were brought together and united together. It was still very prophetic, because there were a lot of wars around us tse e leng gore ne di diragala. Mahatsha a mangwe ile ha ba seno nna ba henya the colonial masters. They started to have tribal disputes among themselves tse e leng gore people died. But we have not gone through that. Ha re na re bona boipuso, ga ra ka ra nna ha ra simola ra lwa go te Masira ga te Saretsa ha kwa nna president because o mongwato, kana Masira ha kwa nna vice president because o tswa ko gangwe. We didn't have that, you know. So for me, this also was a very, very prophetic statement to say we are very, our country, the name of our country, la itsegile tumile, la Botswana, and then it is put together in unity, united through peace, and you know, le gone gore bopagantswe mo go ka kagiso.
When we talk about kutlwano ye le kagisano, I've heard the current president saying, whenever he meets investors and they talk to him about the experience of Botswana, they always talk about Botswana having this, he calls it fundamental niceness about
Yes,
it.
yes,
Gore Botswana go na le sengwela se se rang gore Motswana gore o kgone go utlwana le ena, go na le sengwela. Now you are saying, I think Mr. Motsete spoke these things into existence by writing the national anthem.
He did.
Yes.
He did.
In English, this stanza says, a word of beauty and of fame.
Yeah.
For the nation of Botswana, through our unity and harmony, talks about harmony, we will remain at peace as one.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautifully written song.
It is. It is. Not only beautiful, but very prophetic.
Very prophetic.
Yes.
And we want to, as Botswana turns 60, the song also turns 60.
Yes.
We want to appreciate Ramotsete for the beautiful prophetic lyrics.
Yes.
In the national anthem.
Yeah.
Kanye ya equality ya batho. Women, in English it says women besides.
Right.
It's only in the 80s after the Beijing that women's issues came to the fore. But then long saw them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
re leboga thata, and I hope and pray that we must move from being the unhappiest nation to be what the song says. Oh, this land, this happy land.
Yeah.
Eh,
Irra. No, my take on that, like initially I used to believe a statement we are an unhappy nation is not correct.
yes.
My belief was that Botswana re batho ba re open, we are open in terms of expressing our views. Motswana ha sa itumele sengwe hela wa go itse hela gore Motswana ha itumele o bua hela le gona a phuthulogile. So to somebody I thought compared to what I've seen, other places people will sit around the room and pretend that everything is fine. Mela le tswa ka kgoro, the story changes. But Motswana tells you to your face, or we used to tell each other to our faces. Ha re sa itumele. So for a researcher, I used to believe that it could be concluded gore we are in a happy nation. But when I look at what some of the things that are happening around, I sort of want to buy into that to some extent. But then it also boils back to issue ya gore ha re lebile yone national anthem. To issue ya gore we have moved away from God in many aspects. We have moved away from recognizing gore lehatshe le tota ke la rona re hilwe ke modimo ke mpho ya rona ke mpho ya modimo to us. And le gone gore ga re le bereke le jaaka ne re tshwantse gore le bereke there is disharmony within us because we have departed from what is expected. We are no longer serving the country. We are self-serving, and we are also just casually living and handling things. So I think that creates the disharmony between what the core of us believes we should be doing and what we are doing. Kuru ka re motho a na le contradiction. So another that contradiction, it would normally show gore ga gona contradiction. So now I think a lot of these things are happening because we have become too individualistic, and we have also forgotten to recognize gore Modimo ke mang. We think we can do everything we want, we have everything we want. In the process, re tshela yaka re bata, and I don't think it is helping us as a people. But it's not all lost, because the Bible says in 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and call on my name, I will hear them from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal their land. So we still have an opportunity and put our lives back on track. Then we will become a happy nation.
Yes. By the way, March 20 has been declared international as the World Happiness Day.
Okay.
So my desire is that even as we celebrate this day, the prophetic word spoken in the national anthem should come to pass.
It should.
We should become this land, this happy land that Mr. Mosite saw a long time ago and engraved into our national anthem. So I think maybe I should invite somebody, maybe an economist or whoever, so that we can come and unpack the World Happiness Index report to see exactly what makes us unhappy. Interestingly, a country like Israel, I think it's in top 3.
Oh,
but
okay.
they're in a war
They're
zone.
in the middle of war.
But the happiness index, it's among the top 5, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think we need to really understand this happiness index and align ourselves with Mr. Mutsite's. It's our son now. It's no longer his son.
No, it's
I think
not.
it was accepted and it's ours.
He gave it to us as an inheritance.
Yes.
So, re jele boswa a ba re jesa boswa ja gore re ikitse gore re bo mang. So re ja boswa ja ga re motsete by declaring it.
We are drawing towards a close. And like I said, the motivation of this podcast is Botswana is turning 60.
Yeah.
And you've already noticed when young people were dancing kwasa kwasa.
Yeah.
But as a nation, I think we are losing something
Yeah.
about our identity. So I want you to encourage us, all of us, elders, young people, about the value of these national symbols, a national anthem, national flag, coat of arms. What motivation or encouragement do you have for us?
No, thank you very much.
Emma.
I really wish for each and every one of us could know before I am, my country is.
Yes.
In every decision that I make, whether ke a koropa mo strateng, or ke kgweetsa taxi, or ke amogela baeng ko airport, or ke apela bana ko sekolong, or ke ngwana sekolo teachera o emegale wa nthuta. We should know before anything else, my country goes ahead of me. If we do, ha ke le ngwana sekolo ke le mo tlelaseng ke rutiwa, I would know the education that I'm acquiring is helping me to be a better citizen. If I'm a better citizen, what it basically means is that I will be able to contribute meaningfully to my country. And once le nna ha ke bereka, tiro e ke e dirang, I should know where I'm sitting mo officing e kentseng, whether in the private sector or public sector, that position that I'm holding, I am the only one that is holding it. Even if we got to a position let's say le 5, le declare le 5, but the fact that you are the 5th one means that it's a privilege that you should take that stanza sa tsogang should say to us, I need to contribute to the growth and the preservation of my country. So let's respect the national symbols. Let us respect our flag. Let's have the pride. That is us. And also what is happening now with social media, a lot of fake news. It is disheartening. Coat of arms saying, fake news. I wonder how I honestly fail to, I cannot comprehend so these are some of the things that I would encourage young people, let us desist. But let's leave the national symbols alone. Otherwise, for me, that is basically what it looks like. So I would encourage let's respect the national symbols.
You learned this from primary school, to respect these symbols. Do you think we lost it somehow in the way we raise our kids? That's why they kind of disrespect, like you are saying. Somebody takes the coat of arms, fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think we are losing it, so that we know what to correct or how to correct it?
So I think maybe one of the ways I think primary school is the best thing to instill some of these values during their formation stages. So emphasis ya gore bana ba ska ba opela national anthem hela, but ba bolelo botlhokwa ja yone le di-protocol tsa yona. I recall last year gore mentena a dira publication ya di-protocols around singing the national anthem, gore bana ba rutiwe le tsone bo coat of arms, bana ba rutiwe gore coat of arms di-cogwheels tsele di emetseng, lebele le emetseng, kgomo le emetseng. I'm sure most of the kids today don't know. They don't even know. Bona ba bona hela ile ka morago ga khwene. They are not able to interpret it. So I think go go dipelong go boela go morago go rotloediwe gore bana ba rutiwe, bana ba opela anthem, both in public and private schools, really. Because I want to tell you go to public schools and they do their best. Then private schools, some of these are not prioritized. But I think the government can still find a way of ensuring that we are all compliant.
So any last words? We are closing now. Any last words?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. One thing like I will not stop talking about nobody is going to come back and serve this country. If anything, people are going to come back. So rona re sa sireletse lehatshe la rona ha gona pota re sireletsang ha re sa beele bana ba rona bo swara bo protector, nobody is going to do that for us. So that will be my final words.
Thank you. Like I said, March 20 is World Happiness Day. So I wish every Botswana happiness to align with the national anthem or this land, this happy land. So we are going to be happy. We've heard from Monyatsi that Mr. Moseta's song was very prophetic. He was able to call out Tumo, Iseo, and different players in our society. So we thank you, viewers, for watching Pitso Podcast. We've come to the end. I encourage you to continue watching, subscribing, liking, and sharing. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.